Hey, greetings class. We're starting tutorial 3. This is the last tutorial that needs to be complete for the review assignment. So first we're going to go to our review assignment and we're just going to reread some of the standards here. I believe it just says to use tutorial 3. Right. So for tutorial 2 and 3 review assignments, continue to use the file that you've worked on in tutorial 1. So we're going to go to our Cengage. We're going to click on the home key to put us back to the home. We're going to open up 3. We're going to go to the review, practical review or practice review assignment 3. And the first thing it wants us to do is to open up our database that we've saved in 1 and 2. So that's right there. I've got it open, probably the wrong format there. So just give me one. You just saw that there. I clicked on the locked, the LAACB. That means the locked database. So you don't want to submit that, right? So when I have it open, the database open, it opens up an LAACB. That means locked. So I can't double click that and open that. So I had this open down below to fix that. I just closed that database and opened it up. So I've had in the past students submit that LAACB and it doesn't open. So just make sure that you're not submitting that LAACB. You're submitting that ACCB or DB, ACCDB. Anyway, all right, so we've got that opened up. We're going to go on to the next step. It wants us to modify a record in the database. So we're going to go to the supplier table, datasheet view. This is the datasheet view, right? It wants us to modify the GRE 364 with this address. So let's go ahead and get that, and then we're going to change the phone number and the first name, Andrew, last name, Klein. So GRE 364, right? We're changing the address. So GRE 364, we're changing the address. I think the name, I believe, was Alvin Klein. We changed the phone number to right there. So let's get that changed. Okay, so we've just completed our step 2. Our next step, step 3, we're going to create a query on the supplier table, and we're going to include the following fields: company, category, contact, first, last name, initial contact. Sort the query in sending order on the category field value. Save it as contact list. So we'll go ahead and start that query now. So I'm just going to try to see if I can minimize that off to the side so I remember what it is. Okay, so we're going to create that query. So create query. We'll use a simple query off the supplier table. Right, we're going to select company, category, contact list last name, phone, initial contact. Go ahead and get that. We want to, probably won't let us rename it because it's not saved yet. So now I could rename it to contact list. So it wants us to sort the query in sending order based on the category field. And so what I do here is I go to the design view, and it says by the category field, sort it in ascending order. So went ahead and done that. Save it. Run our query, and by the category field, it's in ascending order. We've ran the query there, so we're going to go on here to say running is just double clicking that and ran the query. So we're going to use the contact list to update the supplier by changing the phone field of this person right here to this phone number. So I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to move this over. I'm going to find that surgical company, and I'm going to update that field. Okay. Step here is to change the size of the font in this list to 12 point, and then change the width of the columns as necessary. I think that's what that says. Resize the columns as necessary so that field values of the columns are visible. So I'm simply going to make sure I'm in the Home tab. I'm going to click on one, click Control A to highlight everything in my database, and I'm going to change the font size to 12. After that, of course, we're going to do field with best fit, so that all the fields are visible. It looks like the phone one is not, right? So field with best fit makes that visible. For step 6, we're going to change the alternate row color on this sheet to theme color green 60 lighter. So I'm just simply going to click on a row here. Right here, it should say that alternate row color. I'm going to select green. I just highlight over it, Ancient 6, 60%, so it should be going up. I'll click on that, and all my alternate rows should be that color. So now we're going to save the query. For step 7, we're going to create a query. We're going to do that a little bit different than what we've been doing. We're going to use both tables, and we're going to do some fields from some table, company, category, and state fields from the supplier, product name, price, and units and weight from the product table. We're going to sort the query in descending order on price, select only those records and state field values of CT, but do not display the state. Save the query as CT supplier. So simple. We're going to create a query. We're going to design it because we need to use both tables. So it's not just a simple query. We can do both, but I like to select both, right? Click on add, click on close there, just to make sure that our display is working right here. I just want to make sure that that's that one-to-many relationship, right? So what we have here is we got to do company, right? So we could just type it in. We could pick the table as the supplier table, right? And we're going to show that category. It knows what table it's already in, right? It wouldn't give me the choice if I couldn't. Product name, which is going to be in the product table, right? So I didn't enter it correctly, right? Product name with no space. So if you get that error, it's because you didn't type it as it is in the table, right? If you say I can't find it, it's because you're not typing what's in the table. Price, right? So I'm going to go ahead and type it. Sometimes there's too much to search for, and that's a horrible searching area. Now what we have to do is we have to sort this one by descending order, right? I'm going to make this wider for you so you can see what I'm doing so far, right? And I can scroll here, right? So we've done company, category, product, price. We're making a query for these tables, units, right? And these are all still shown, right? We're showing the results of that. Weight, product. Okay, so then the next one here is state. We want it to be in the supplier table, and we want a criteria here of CT, right? We want to show states CT and not shown. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and save this query. We're going to name it, I think it's, I'll have to look that up. Yeah, so it's CT suppliers, and then we're going to run the query. Okay, so there you have it, step 7. For step 8, we're going to create another query. We're only going to use the product table, so we could do a simple query for this one. So we're going to create a query, simple query, and we are going to use the product table, and we want product ID, product name, we want the price. We're going to have to do some modifications after this, the unit, temp control, and sterile. Next, we're going to just leave all the defaults for now. We'll go ahead and modify it here in just a minute. And the name of it is high price and sterile. I'm not going to run the query this time. I'm going to modify the query design. Okay, so in this case, we want to show product ID, product name, price, units, temp control, but the price is going to be greater than $200, right? So we're going to do the greater than $200. We don't want to show anything less than $200. And the sterile is not shown, and the criteria should be yes. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and close that, save our changes, and run our query. Okay. Okay, so the next query we're going to create is a list of information about sellers who sell equipment, product names that require temperature control, include company, category, contact, first and last, supplier table, and the price, product name, temp controlled, sterile fields from the product table. So we're going to need both tables, and we're going to save it as this right here. So get that copied right now. So we're going to create a query design. We're going to use both tables, right? And we're going to do company, and I believe all these are shown. Nothing was not shown. We're going to do category. Nope. Contact first, and the category is by equipment. In this category field, we need to put equip. Yeah, so I'm not spelling it right, so that's the problem. Show you that as an example, that if the string is incorrect, you'll come up with something like that. So we'll just go ahead and fix that. The next, we're going to do contact last, product name, price, temp control. So it didn't find it for me. And we want that by yes. Right? Because if you remember our question, we'll go back to our question, where it's who sells equipment or products require temp control. So categories equipment, who sell with temp control, and sterile. Of course, when you get that right there, that means you can't find it in the table. So sometimes the best thing to do is just search the table to find it. Okay, so that's the end of that query. We'll go ahead and save it. Hopefully I still have the, I'm going to go ahead and get that copied again, just in case. So we're going to sell it as equipment. And okay. Go ahead and run that query, right, by equipment who need temp control. So that's good.